You're listening to Your Highest Self podcast, episode 35, How to Think Bigger with Vision Planning. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm so excited to have you back. Thank you so much for investing in your mind and doing it with me today. If you are new, welcome. My name is Shanae. I'm your host. I'm a retired WBFF bikini pro. And in this show, we talk about holistic solutions for your fitness, nutrition, and mindset. So not only was I a professional competitor for about 5 years, I also coached a lot of competitors and did a lot of fitness and nutrition coaching, and I still do. But a big piece that I realized was missing from my own journey and from the journey of my clients was mindset. So in this podcast, what I really aim to do is bring you the learning lessons, the tips, and those key things that I think a lot of us are missing so that you can have a really successful fitness journey or whatever journey you're on. Our mantra around here is that we are emotionally well, physically strong, mentally strong, and spiritually sound. So the 3 pillars within this podcast, as you probably have realized if you've been listening, is mind, body, and heart. So today is actually a mix of a mind and a heart. It's like the soul piece of the coaching that I do with everyone. And we're going to talk about vision planning and why is this so important and why am I doing it in March? We talked a little bit about vision planning earlier in the year when 2020 was around the corner and how to effectively set your goals. And I showed you how to set your goals. But today we're going to take it even just a step back and really think about your vision and where you want to go. And I think this is a really great time of year to do this because it's March. Can't believe it. February went by in a blink. And oftentimes we can get off track because the mountain that we're climbing quickly becomes a mountain that we didn't think we wanted to climb. If you know what I mean. So anyhow, vision planning is a really important thing that I do with my clients because as a coach, it's really important for me to know where they actually want to go. Oftentimes someone will tell me, I really want to lose the rebound weight I gained and I really want to stop emotional eating. But then when we start doing vision planning, when we start talking about what it is they really want and doing the exercises, we realize actually they just want to feel happy and they want to stop emotionally eating so they can feel confident to go after their secret dream. Maybe that is being a coach. Maybe that's being an entrepreneur or starting their own business. So anyhow, that was the longest intro. Today's episode is a workshop style one, so make sure you get your notebooks ready. And if you haven't already, come and join our super secret Facebook group, meaning you can't search for it. You have to either get it through the link that I'll have down in the show notes, or you can go to shnaemomoko.com/. Is that a forward slash? It's like the normal slash that is always on URLs. Your highest self. Or have your friend invite you in. Once you're in, invite a friend. It's so much more exciting that way. One more housekeeping before we get into today's episode, and I'll kind of outline what today's episode is about, is I have a journal coming out, and I can't remember if I told you about it. I have a great long-term memory. I have terrible short-term memory, but if you want to get on my waitlist for my journal, I'm going to have the waitlist down in the comments. Sorry, the notes of the show notes of this episode. So just scroll up on your phone and you'll see it. The published date is to be determined, but it will be in March, super soon. I'm recording this right now. It's February 29th. So we're almost there. So if you want to get on the waitlist, it is a 30-day experience of creating your purpose. Yes. And it's amazing. So get on the wait list and you'll find out more details that way. Anyways, now to get into the meat of this episode, today we're going to learn about the difference between your true north and magnetic north, the framework I use to build out a vision, and the obstacles that you will encounter during this process and what you can do about it. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. We're going to start off with the analogy of true north versus magnetic north. And I learned this from a great mentor. He was within our mastermind last year, and he told us this story about, this is how he put it. He said, there are 3 ships headed towards north. One has a very experienced crew, but no compass. The second has a compass that is tuned towards magnetic north. And then the third ship has a compass tuned towards true north. who's going to get to true north first, like who's going to actually get to the real North Pole. And if you didn't know, because I didn't know, but apparently there is like a magnetic north where it's not the actual North Pole, but it's like this magnetic center in the earth that will point your compass towards there. And then you find out you're like actually 500 miles away from the actual North Pole. Anyhow, now that you know that, so those are the three crew, like the three ships, the three crew members, who's going to get there. Most likely not the first crew, even though they have an experienced crew member, not having a compass and not knowing where exactly you're going. It's like they're going to get off track. The magnetic north crew, same with them. Yes, they have a compass and yes, they know where they're going, but they're going towards magnetic north and not true north. The only cruise ship that's going to get to the North Pole is the one that has the true north compass. And think of true north as your purpose. And magnetic north is sometimes where you fall off track. This is important for when you're doing your vision planning, because oftentimes you actually will go to magnetic north. And that's when I use this analogy all the time, but it's like that mountain you're climbing, like what we talked about, is not the summit you actually want to see. So you get to the summit and you're like, shoot, this isn't what I thought it would be. That's most likely because you followed your magnetic north instead of your true north. So over time, I think it's inevitable that you will go towards magnetic north every now and again, but that's where it's important to pivot and to adapt when you get there, and to not be afraid to pivot and adapt. Like take my own story, for example. I became a competition prep coach. I was really, really, really good at it, and my clients were doing amazing, winning pro cards, winning first place, but I wasn't happy. I mean, I was happy for them, but there was still a part of me that was like, this doesn't feel fulfilling, which I feel like a jerk saying, but it's just truth, because I realized that I can make a bigger impact helping these women be their authentic self, truly express who they are, be committed, be disciplined towards a goal that brought them way more fulfillment and happiness than just being stage lane. Being stage lane is great, and they're, like getting on stage is great, not being stage lane. Getting on stage is a great goal, and it's amazing when you get there, but it's not for everyone. And for me, a lot of the times I realized was that I got there, but it wasn't my true north. It was my magnetic north. So anyway, I tell you this analogy so that you can kind of start to think about, am I heading towards true north? Or am I heading towards magnetic north? Like, where am I heading? Where am I going? How does it feel? So important to check in with yourself. And if you're not liking where you're going, it's just magnetic north. All you have to do is course correct and go towards true north again. So how do we do that? Let's go ahead and talk about the vision framework. So get out your notebook. I'm going to have a little sip of water. The first thing is we have to figure out, what is your purpose? Like, what are you going towards? Because if you don't have a purpose, if you really don't know where you're going, then you're going to end up nowhere. It's kind of like driving to a destination and not having the address. You're just going to be mindlessly going on the road. So we're going to do 2 exercises right now to help you find what your purpose is, and get my journal, and that will also help you. These 2 exercises are not in the journal. So the first one is, I want you to write down, what would your tombstone say? Yes, I know that sounds morbid, but we all die. It's the equalizer in life. Eventually, we all die. And when you can start to really think about, what is it that you want your tombstone to say? What is it that you wanted to have stood for? What is it that you wanted to be known for? It's going to be much easier for you to make sure that you are doing the things that are going to take you towards your true north and not your magnetic north. So when I thought about my tombstone thing, I was like, I don't want to be known as a world famous, world class competition prep coach. I love it, but it's not my true north. I want to be known as a charismatic, transformational, motivational speaker. Like, I want to impact people and be the catalyst of change in many women's lives, because we need these women to step up and become business owners, entrepreneurs, mothers, CEOs, whatever. That's the only way we're going to make a positive impact and change in this world. And I can't do that just by doing competition prep coaching. Loved it. It was my canvas for a long time, but it is a magnetic north, not a true north. So you see what I'm saying? The second part of this exercise is to then write your obituary from the perspective of your child or sibling. This is a hard one. Take some time with it. But when you are able to do this, you're able to look at yourself from like another person's eyes, their perspective, and it's, someone who loves you very much. So perspective of your child, sibling, or partner. And when you can write your obituary from their eyes, you are able to see all the amazing qualities about you that you push off, don't think are amazing, take for granted. So if you need help, what you can do is you can ask a friend, you can ask your partner, you can ask your son or daughter if you have one, and just be like, what do you love the best about me? What do you like about me? Or, what do you think is my best quality? And reciprocate and say it to them. So those are the first two exercises to find out what your purpose is. We might not get to the very detail of like what you're going to do, but that's okay because like we've talked about so many times, it's more important about who you are and who you're being versus what you're doing. Okay, I'm going to say that again. It's more important to focus on who you are and who you are being versus what you are doing. Number 2, now we're going to get real specific and clear on the details and work backwards 5 to 10 years from like what your tombstone says, what your obituary says. I personally can't think 10 years in advance. Like it just doesn't work for my brain. So I do 5 years. And a while ago, we were going to do a workshop on visualization, but no one signed up. So hit me up if you want to do a visualization meditation circle on this specifically, on, visualizing where you are in 5 to 10 years. And it gets a lot easier to do this exercise. But here are the different categories that I want you to explain about yourself. Okay, ready? Health and wellness, career, family and friends, relationships and romance, self-growth and personal development, and physical environment. So those are some different ideas to just get your brainstorming juices flowing. Get real specific about who are you. So some questions you can ask yourself. What kind of woman are you? Where do you live? What do you do for a living? How do you dress? How do you make others feel? What car do you drive? What kind of house do you live in? Is your family around? What country do you live in? Those are some questions to kind of just get you eased and flowing. What's your morning routine like? What's your evening routine like? I keep coming up with more. So when you can do this and when you just outline really who you are and what you do, this becomes your true north. This becomes your compass to guide you to where you want to go versus just mindlessly moving around in life. And I recommend doing this at least every quarter, like every 3 months, looking back and being like, okay, like where am I on the trajectory of my goals? And also, how do I feel about my goals? Do they need to shift? Do they need to adapt? Am I changing? Am I evolving? And give yourself the permission to do so. I'm mostly saying this to myself because my goals change all the time. And sometimes I'm really hard on myself and I'm like, no, you got to stick with this goal because you picked it. And that's just not the case. Like you are allowed to change. So anyhow, once you've written out the specific details about who you are and what your vision is, then what you're able to do is we're able to pinpoint the stories that we need to rewrite to achieve this vision. So if you've been an OG listener, I talk about this all the time, but your beliefs are the glass ceiling of your potential. And if you have beliefs that do not even allow you to think about your 5-year vision and where you want to go and allow you to dream big, then we have to work on rewriting those stories or else you are not getting anywhere. You will only receive as much as your mind is willing to accept. So we have to rewrite these stories. We have to rewrite these beliefs about yourself so that you can achieve the goals that you want to achieve. If you have a vision of, having your own business or impacting women worldwide or speaking on stages, like those visions and those goals are within you for a reason. And it's not stupid of you. It's not selfish of you to think so. Like, I think for so many years, people made me feel wrong about the things that I wanted to achieve. I mean, even just what I do now was like a really big deal to me 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I was told that like no one was ever going to watch my videos, or no one was ever going to hire me for online coaching, right? Like I was told that. And that was my belief for many, many, many years that held me back from starting a business, that held me back from creating content like a podcast, or even just like putting myself out there on Instagram stories. So these beliefs that we have about ourselves, they are probably the most important thing. Oftentimes it's really hard for you to see like maybe what some of the beliefs are that are holding you back. And that's where a coach is super helpful to help shine a light on your blind spots, because you don't know what you don't know. Last but not least, okay, I hope you guys feel clear on all that. If you have any questions about 1, 2, or 3, so what is your purpose? Get real specific and outline your vision, who you are, what you do, how you live, and then identifying the stories that you need to rewrite to be able to achieve this vision. If you have any questions on those 3 steps, come into Facebook, let's talk about it, or DM me or email me, whatever. I want to make sure that you get this exercise done. I really want you to put this into place so that we can start to achieve these goals that you have on your heart. Last but not least, some of the obstacles that you're going to face. You might face all, you might face just 1 or 2. These are obstacles that I see my clients face. These are obstacles that I face. In the present moment, I go through these things all the time, and that is imposter syndrome. I'm struggling real hard with that right now. The fear of outshining, the fear of not being good enough, and also the fear of success. And I guess you could also say the fear of failure. So those are different obstacles that you will face. I'm not saying that you will never face these. Like, that's just not reality. That's not true. I'd be setting you up for failure if I told you that this is all going to be easy peasy and you're never not going to doubt yourself. Like, it's just the fact of the matter is, when you step outside of your comfort zone, it's uncomfortable. Hence the name comfort zone. It's hard. It's not meant to feel good, which is why people stay stuck where they are for so many years. So you will face this. How to overcome them? These are their own podcast episodes. Look at that, guys. I just created lots of content for myself. But on a high level, invest in yourself. Invest in a coach who's going to help walk you through these. Invest in a coach who has been where you want to be, okay? Or who is where you want to be, so that she or he can look back on their own journey and help you with yours based on all the things that they've gone through. So high level, I would say invest in yourself. You can do this alone, but it's going to take you a lot of years, and it's going to take you a long time. And you may never get there because, again, you just don't know what you don't know. And if you've got imposter syndrome, if you've got this fear of not being good enough and you're in your own head about things, it's often not enough just to journal on it, to read books on it. You often have to verbally process, and then also accountability. Like, you need accountability to actually do the things that you said you're going to do on a timeline, on a deadline, to put it out there and to get it done. So anyhow, I hope that this episode was helpful. I'm all about vision planning. It's so important. I do it every quarter, like I said, and I give myself permission to pivot and to adapt when my vision has changed. Okay, I think that's like so important, especially if you are in human design and manifesting generator like me. We just have all these ideas and we change our mind all the time, and that's okay. I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I hope you have an amazing day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Don't forget to be yourself. Bye for now.